it was just letdown after letdown.
Feeling as though I was a hopeless case.
They don't get to the root of the problem.
Going through programs all throughout the years and kind of still struggling left me feeling as though I was a hopeless case. I felt like even those professionals had given up on me because I would just keep cutting back and not make any progress.
I think there were a number of situations or circumstances where the system failed Elise. She felt that if she was not given some kind of support, that she would possibly hurt herself or do something worse.
He lost a lot of hope and a lot of faith in our medical system as well, because it was just letdown after letdown after letdown. And had I not been as tenacious and dedicated and given up, like I'm sure a lot of people do, because it's frustrating.
You're then revolving in and out of hospitals, and to be quite frank, yes, they save your life, but they don't get to the root of the problem.
And when people don't get help when they really need it, it can spiral deeper and deeper into the eating disorder and can be harder to come out on the other side.
We still don't really get what treatment is.
Hoping that one thing would stick.
What's the magic recipe? As a society and as a profession, we still don't really get what treatment is about eating disorders. I mean, we have great ideas in certain contexts for certain populations, for certain types of symptoms of eating disorders, but that gets really specific. So when we say, oh, I'm in treatment for an eating disorder, it's like, what are we actually talking about?
We were given narrative therapy and CBT and DBT and personal therapy, and we were getting things thrown on and just hoping that one thing would stick, without the acknowledgement that that barrage and all of that picking apart oneself and asking you to do all these exercises could in itself actually be contributing to the pain and not lessening it.
What's the magic recipe? We don't know the magic recipe, and yet we're sort of talking as if we do. We're refusing to see the complexity.
Eating disorders are simplified in every aspect. They're simplified when we talk about the cause, so we point to culture or society or the media, and then they're simplified again when we look at why they manifest. So we point to poor parenting, or we point to a trauma, or we point to a faulty gene, and then they're even simplified again when we talk about how we're going to treat them. So we're going to just refeed, or we're going to do talk therapy. And so even the person who has the eating disorder is simplified. They're simplified down into being perfectionistic or low self-esteem or shallow even. And so every aspect of this disease is simplified.
I think we're lured by the idea of simplicity and by cure, by like fixative solutions. And we want it to be quick. We don't have time because the machine has us moving fast.
Government funding programs don't tackle all of these angles. They might speak to, yes, individuals have depression, or yes, they have anxiety. But when we look at the treatment for those individuals, it's, no, we don't talk about that right now. We're talking about an eating disorder. When we try to create programs that only address one mental health issue without addressing all the other ones that are present in the room.
Eating disorder treatment is so much different than that of alcohol or drug addiction, because you could probably live a fairly successful life and have cut those things out of your life, but you can't cut food out. You can't. So you have to sit in this tension for so long of knowing that the thing that you're struggling with is also something that you need, that is also the way that we connect with other people, that is also part of being alive. It's messy. It's not black and white. Need for trauma-based therapies,
more exercise specialists,
A spiritual connection.
I wish that we didn't have these diagnostic categories and we just kind of thought about, okay, who's struggling with trauma? Who's struggling to regulate emotions? Who's struggling with emotion suppression? Who's using symptoms to cope? Whatever the reasons, whatever the gender, and let's work at that underlying problem so that we can make the change come from there.
Thing that I think would be helpful to integrate into eating disorders treatment is therapy around internalized weight bias. So internalized weight bias is when people internalize the cultural norms around body size and fat shaming and apply them to themselves. And I think that through unlearning some of that, recovery becomes a little bit easier.
I would really like to see more exercise specialists be incorporated into treatment of eating disorders in North America. I know that in Europe, those types of specialists have been on their treatment staff for about 15 years now, and they've seen better recovery rates and less relapse rates from their patients.
I think some of the programming, a registered dietitian program, is really, really great. And a holistic nutrition program has some really great benefits. If we could, marry the two together and have them more specialized in how to approach refeeding and intuitive eating and helping a person get through the struggles and the behaviors and the triggers.
Something that really helped me, and the piece that's kind of missing from the recovery timeline, is spirituality. We often don't have this outlook beyond ourselves to pour out our feelings, to pour out our fears and our hopes. And what I found really helped me was to make that connection, that spiritual connection, something that could give me hope and light in all of the darkness.
An eating disorder, in my mind, is essentially serving a function in the individual's life to help them cope with pain. And what we want to do in our best treatment efforts is to provide them with alternatives to that coping and to know that they're not alone.